Hello, my name is Sharina, and I'm gonna go through your questionnaires. So the first question, when I think of the term or phrase of dual language learner, what images comes to mind? So the first thing that comes to mind is I think of young children, boys and girls, in early childhood settings who speak Spanish at home while they are learning English at school. In my experience, I actually do have couple students who are dual. I have two that speak Spanish and also speaks English. And usually when I think of the dual language learners, I think of like people from Mexico, South or Central America, or Puerto Rico, because usually when I am dealing with dual language learners, they are either from one of those countries. For the second question, what challenges do you think DLL experience in the ECE settings? For me, it's for sure the language barrier because it's very hard to teach them the English and then they're just looking at us like, huh? So, for sure, is the language barriers that I face a lot in my experience with dual language learners. Um, for number three, what challenges do you think ECE settings face in supporting the DLLs? For me, it's providing that 101 or a small group language support in the ECE settings because it can be time consuming. So sometimes I do like to have 101s with my DLLs because I also like to have conversation with parents about certain words like, oh, what's the word that you use for your daughter or son to like sit down or to listen, and then they would give me the Spanish words. um Also, communicating with families who speaks different languages can also be another challenge because it's just very hard when you're with parents that do want to teach their kids the primary language. Um, what for number four? What assets do you think DLL brings to the ECE settings? For my experience, having a dual language in a ECE education setting, it to me it enriches the classroom and the multicultural learning experience because it fosters curiosity and empathy to other students, and it's just a great way of like getting to know each other based on their cultural experience. Sorry, my nose is very itchy. Um, should D for number five, should DLL be taught in first language in English or both ECE settings, and why? For me personally, I believe that DLL should be taught in a placement with their parents' wishes. If the parent wants their child to do Spanish, for example, as their main language, I will definitely support it. Um, but at the same time, I will let parents know, like in school, it is. Oh, how did I explain it? I'm sorry. I did have a parent conference not too long ago about one of my students who is dual languages. I did tell the father that please continue motivating, encourage your daughter to learn Spanish, but here at school it will always be English. So it's gonna be like a learning process for his daughter to learn both because yeah, because I love, for me, in my perspective, because I've been in the early childhood education field for a while, and I've been working with some certain DLLs. I definitely encourage parents, because for me, like, honestly, I am Asian American, but I do wish that my parents taught me Filipino language, because it's nice to learn another language. So I support parents' decision if they want Spanish as their first language and English as their second. But like I said, I do let parents know, like, when they're in school, they will have to learn English. For number 6, if you are a parent of a DLL in an ECE setting, what types of support resources would you want your child and your family? If I was a parent of a DLL in an ECE setting, I would advocate having languages resources for the teachers to probably post around the classroom. I wouldn't even mind being like a guest at a guest speaker in the classroom to teach them about the language and the culture. So that would be my way of supporting my child in an ECE with a DLL. For number 7, what are some strategies or resources you think should be present in ECE settings instructions to help DLL's development early literacy skills? So in my classroom, I do actually provide DLL literacy based on DLL, if that makes sense. But as I'm saying is that I do have Spanish words posted around the classroom. I have labels with the English word. For example, let's just say like I will have colors. That's a good one. So I have the colors posted on my wall, and I have the English word that would say red. But on the bottom, I would write in quotation roja, which means Spanish. So, I wish I had a picture of it or was in my classroom so I could show you what it looks like. And I also have, like, in numbers, I have something in Hawaiian. So instead of I do have English, and then on the bottom, I would have a Hawaiian word based on the numbers. So number 1 is 1 for English, and 1 in Hawaiian is ikahi. So I have that as well. So my room has a lot of culture, different languages around the room based on what kids I have. So for example, there's 2 teachers that are Filipino, so I do have Filipino words around my classroom and around the labels. Hawaiian, because I'm born and raised in Hawaii, and I do know Hawaiian words, so that's another one. And I do have Spanish, and another one I think I have is actually, I think that's it. So I only have Spanish, Hawaiian, and Filipino posted around our classroom, because that's mainly what we have based on our children and adult teachers. And last question, in ECE settings, should the DLL assess screen using the same assessment and screeners used with non-DLLs? Why or why not? For me, I think that it should not be assessed using the same assessment as the non-DLLs, because to me, I think that children with DLLs may grasp concepts and demonstrate skills in their home language, but they struggle to express the same skills in a new language. So I don't think it's fair for them to be assessed using the same using the same assessment for the non-DLLs. And that concludes all my 8 questions, and I hope You got good insight. Thank you. Can't wait for the rest of the semester. Bye.